This is one of the most important video if you are a WordPress developer, or if you are an agency owner, or if you are a small business managing your WordPress website by yourself. In this video, I'm going to cover all of the latest features, including the collaborator, the AI features, the image editing of AI, and all of the latest features which are coming in WordPress 7.0, which is supposed to be released by 20th May 2026. Now, after watching this video, let me know in the comments below which one is the most important feature which will save you a lot of time. Now, without further ado, let's get into the screen. So on one tab, I have WordPress 6.9.4, a freshly installed WordPress install with the version 6.9.4. And on the other tab, I have WordPress 7.1 version, which is a beta version, a tester version. It is not officially released. It was supposed to be released by month of April, but it couldn't release. Now it is supposed to be released on 20 May 2026. I hope it does not get more delayed because I don't know what's the reason. Anyway, let's get into the comparison of the WordPress 6.9 and WordPress 7.0 because there has been a lot of hype that WordPress is adding a lot of features. And in this video, we will cover all of the latest features which they are adding in the WordPress 7.0. So initially, when you look at the dashboard, you feel a little difference with the coloring and with the fonts, and you can see the edges as well. These are some of the round edges which you can see here as compared to WordPress 6.9, which is this one. So if I compare this part, you can see the color difference, right? And you can see the edges, the round edges. That's the noticeable difference which I see. And we also have this search feature on WordPress 7.0 now. Now, if I click on this, I can search pages and I can search posts. And previously in WordPress 6.9, we don't have anything like that. So that's one thing. And one other thing which I saw really quickly is that if I go to appearance and if I go to fonts, we have now ability to upload fonts into our theme. Finally, here you can see we have some fonts showing up and we have the option of upload the font. So if I click on upload, I have the option to upload .ttf, ODF, all of these formats are supported. And if I click on install fonts, I have the option to enable the Google fonts, but I tried activating the Google font and now it's just loading and loading. I don't know what's the reason for that. But anyway, you can upload Google fonts. I think they'll fix this loading issue when it's actually released. I think there's an issue with the beta version. So in WordPress, if you're watching this, there's an issue when you activate the Google font, it just keeps on loading and loading. And one other thing I noticed is that when I click on all pages, it just fades in. So the animation is a little bit changed. So you can notice that if I click on media, you will notice that it's fading in, not flicking in the original version. So it's a little bit fade animation when the page is changed. It's hardly noticeable, but if I go to 6.9.4, it just doesn't have this animation. But for some reason, WordPress 7.0 is working slow for me. Let me know in the comments below if you have experienced this issue as well. And in order to test this WordPress 7.0, you'll have to install the beta tester plugin. So go to installed plugin and then install this WordPress beta tester on your fresh WordPress installed. And when you go to settings, you will have the option of enabling the tester where you'll be able to update from WordPress 6.94 to WordPress 7.0. So if I go to settings, you will click on bleeding edge and then click on light lies. And once you click on save changes, you will have the option of updating from 6.9.4 to version 7.1 plus for the beta testing, or if you want to contribute in WordPress core and point them some issues. So here, if I go to settings and then writing, I have the option of enabling this collaboration mode, meaning if one person or one user is editing one single page, the other user will not be able to change the same page on the same time. They'll have to take over the page. Let me show you how it works. So first I'm going to enable that and then click on save changes. And now I'm going to create some users. So go to users and then click on add user. So let's create test one editor. assign it as an editor, test one editor, click on add user. And you can see that the notification bar is also changed. The styling of the notification bar is changed, not much, but just the styling. Okay, I'm gonna add another test editor to see how two people can work simultaneously on the same page. Okay, these two editors are now added. Now I'm gonna open that in incognito window and try editing it. So let's log in, go to all pages, click on edit page for sample page, and then on this other incognito tab, I'm gonna log in using test one editor, which I just created, and see how two-person can work in collaboration mode. Okay, so you can see that we have two collaborators showing up when two persons are editing same page at the same time. You can see here that's me and that's the other user which is editing the page. This is because of this settings. So if you enable the settings, only then you will be able to have this collaborator real-time collaboration. Otherwise, if you disable that, you will not be able to collaborate in one single page simultaneously, and it will just give you a pop-up to take over, just like in the WordPress 6.9 version. Okay, so this is WordPress 7.0 and this is WordPress 6.9. And if you would check on WordPress 7.0 revisions, so under page, we have this revision showing up. So if I click on that, you can see that now we have revision showing up in a graphical way. So I can just go back to the previous version and restore it just by clicking on this button. And if I compare it with the 6.9, so if I go to WordPress 6.9 and then click on revisions, you can see it does not show what are the changes. It's just going to show the code. You can see that here, right? We don't have graphical interface in order to check the revision history, but in WordPress 7.0, we have that. So we can just switch from the revisions graphically, and we have these colors showing up. So green is where we added something new. Orange is when we change something on the block, and the red is when we deleted something. So you can see that I removed the space and it's showing up the red color here. So that's the difference between the 6.9 revision history and the WordPress 7.0 revision history. Okay, now let me show you guys some of the differences which are in WordPress site editor, block editor. So this is WordPress 6.9 and I have added the gallery block, and in gallery block, if I enable enlarge on click and go to that page in 6.9, I don't have a way to go to the next image which I have, right? I'll have to exit out and then go to the next picture manually. But in WordPress 7.0, I have the same gallery added, same block added, but when I click on the enlarge image, I have these options to navigate to the next image with these arrows, and I can also do that with keyboards. So that's one difference in the image gallery block. There are some additional blocks which WordPress added. So if I click on this plus sign in WordPress 7.0, I have this icon block, which is new. So let's go to WordPress 6.9 and click on plus sign. And if I search for icon, you can see that we have social icons. But now in WordPress 7.0, we have this icon where if I click on it, I can simply click on choose icon and add new icons, right? And there's another new block. So if I click on add block and search for breadcrumbs, you can see we have this breadcrumbs, which will display the breadcrumbs of the page. Now, few more things within the block settings is that now we have this advanced and then additional CSS. So we can now directly add CSS on a specific block, right? Now, if I go back to WordPress 6.9 and check out the advanced, and you can see that we do not have the CSS option. Yes, we can add the CSS class, but we cannot directly add the inline CSS to that specific block. Also, we have hide options as well based on the device. So if I click on these three small dots and then click on hide, now we have the option of hide that block on tablet, or if you want to hide that on mobile device, or if you want to omit that from published content, you can do that as well, right? So that feature was not in WordPress 6.9. If I go to WordPress 6.9, let's say click on this block and click on hide, it will just hide this block and it will not show the option to hide that on different devices. So that's the new feature with the site editor. Now I'm gonna move on to the new AI features which WordPress 7.0 added. If I go to the WordPress backend, so let's navigate back. And from the WordPress 7.0 dashboard, if I click on settings, you can see that I have this connectors option showing up. So let's go to connectors. And here you can see that we can connect Anthropic API, Google API, OpenAI API directly with WordPress, and we can work with AI directly within WordPress. Finally, WordPress did add AI features after like 2-3 years, but they did add it. Okay, so let's do that with Anthropic. I'm gonna click on install and install that plugin. Now here it's asking for the API key, and I'm gonna go to my API console and add in the API key to see how it works. Okay, and I'm gonna paste in my API key and then click on save. Now you can see that we have our Anthropic API key connected. Similarly, we can do that with Google and OpenAI. So let's click on Google. And similarly, it's gonna ask for API key, which you can generate by going to aistudio.google.com. Okay, I'm gonna paste my API key and click save. And now you can see that my Google API and Anthropic API key is connected. Now, in order to use the connectors, we will need to install the AI plugin where we will be able to generate images, alt text, titles, excerpts, and all of these new features. You can learn more about these AI features, but just by clicking on this article here. So that's the plugin of WordPress, which will connect AI to your WordPress directly, right? Now what I'm going to do, I am going to click on install the plugin and test it out to see how it generates the images and generate the titles. And when it's installed, we have the option of control the features in this AI plugin. So click on control features in the AI plugin. Okay, so these are all of the settings which you will find out in AI, and I have already enabled all of that. So enable AI, I have enabled the image generation and editing. I have enabled all of these options where I can generate excerpt, alt text, and all of these stuff. You can see that below connectors. So you can see that we have this new option showing up as an AI. Now let's go ahead in the page which I have. You can see that I have this title. Now if I just want to regenerate it with AI, I can simply click on regenerate and it will generate a new title using AI. And here now I have the option of regenerate, or I can simply insert this current title. So I'm simply going to click on insert, and here you can see that I have inserted this. Now when you click on block, we have some other options as well. So you can see that it is going to generate review notes. So this will review the content of this post block by block and create notes attached to each block with suggestions. So it's very handy to generate review notes using AI. We can generate summary using AI. And here you can see that we have this option of meta description. So I'm simply going to click on generate meta description, and based on the content of this blog post, it's going to automatically generate the meta description. So let's click on generate meta description. And after some time, you can see that it's showing the network error, which might happen sometimes because it's an experimental feature. So it's not properly working, right? So let's skip the meta description. We have this option of generate featured image as well using the AI. Now let's test it out to see if it works. I'm going to click on generate featured image to see if I see any image generated. Okay, finally we have our AI generated image ready. You can see it here. It took some time, but it got finally generated. It didn't show error like the meta description. And not just generating the image, we can also change the image. We can also edit the image. So if I click on the image and then click on edit image, you can see I have the option of expand the background, refine image, remove background, or remove item. So I'm going to test remove item to see if it's working actually. So let's click on remove item and let's change the brush size. And I just want to remove this juice, class juice, and then I'm going to click on remove, and let's see if that works. And let's see how much time it's going to take this time. Okay, finally you can see that it didn't remove the item. It actually changed it with something different. So AI is not actually working fine, but that is not the issue of the WordPress, to be honest. That's the issue of the model which I'm using. I'm currently using Gemini, and I think that's the issue from the model side, but it didn't remove the juice, the glass of juice. It just replaced it with the cactus, or not sure what flower is that. Anyway, we have these options of AI within the WordPress, so that's a good thing, right? I'm gonna go to media library and show you guys we can now also generate images within the media library. So under media, you can see that we have this option of generate image. If I click on generate image, it is going to ask me for adding a prompt. You can see we can add a prompt and generate an image. Also, we can do that directly within the block. So if I type it /image and then hit enter, you can see that we have this generate image option of generating an image with AI directly within the image block. So that's it for the latest features with WordPress 7.0. Let me know in the comments below if I missed any of those. Until next video, have a great day.